Hey everyone, welcome to Stock Talk on July 30th. We're starting today with the Apple intraday chart. This is after market on earnings, and you can see that we've pushed up over, I think, 4% right now, and it's at 217 to 218. So far this bodes well for broad markets, and that would put us on the daily time frame 217 to 218 up here. So we're in striking distance of all-time highs for Apple. So that looks pretty good in terms of its move. So we'll have to be monitoring that moving on forward. And we'll look at some other earnings. And we'll look at AMD at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. So in the last video, I talked how, there's plenty of opportunities in today's market, in my opinion. And the reason is we have a lot of bears right now talking about a potential correction, significant pullback, recession, and I think that is the fuel to the fire that really pushes us higher. It's almost like a psychological point of view, and Apple's no different. You can see Apple now we're pushing up, and I continue to view market as plenty of opportunities. Last time I pointed out Google on earnings. Today, just look at Apple, and we'll take a look at others. I'm not nitpicking here. It's just a lot of these tickers have been moving higher, and the trend has been higher. Here's the SPY. That's the intraday chart. Not taking too much off the intraday chart, but look at the daily time frame. It's a pretty predictable pattern. I'm a little bit chuckling to myself because this pattern has been very predictable and it continues to hold over the 20-period moving average. And every time we get close to it, we move higher. So this looks like what? It looks like we want to continue pushing higher for the broad markets. There's, I don't see a reversal. And just because we close below the 20-period moving average or the light blue line doesn't make things all that bearish. It just might say that short term we might be pushing a little bit lower, but by no means does this mean that we're going to have a correction all the way back down to, 284. Again, if things start changing in the next few days and I see some weakness off of what? The FOMC announcement, which is tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and I see the reaction off of that, and if things start shifting in tone, we'll see it, right? But it doesn't mean that right now, based off the technical pattern alone, the market's bullish. No question about it. So look for this to what? Continue pushing all-time highs. I mean, this is sounds like a broken record, but this is the trend, and we want to always follow the trend. All right. Do we have any warning signs from TVIX, which tracks volatility? The same story goes here. We're still making a series of lower highs, lower lows. This is on a downtrending pattern. Can this be something different? Yes, but we first need to see it get over $15. That would be around the 20-period moving average, but it needs to cross that level for it to be different or have a different tone. But for now, this is moving similarly with the markets. Now, with TVIX up today, that was probably a lot of it was what? Well, the FOMC tomorrow, right? The fear of interest rate cuts and its ramifications, or maybe there's no interest rate cuts, although that's pretty slim at this point. Those are the factors that's going to TVIX. But this is a downtrending pattern on the daily time frame. Look for this to push lower instead of higher. Crude oil futures. So crude oil, as I had said, as you can see, crossing over the daily time frame makes crude oil pretty darn bullish. And this is crude oil. Here's the convergence of all four moving averages, and you should see the significance of that level. That is pushing higher. Look for all this to continue to push higher. Your resistance is at 61.30, 61.40. Your support would be down below around 55.78. Look for that area to act as support, but this is bullish, and look for this to push to the upside. For NG or natural gas, you can see natural gas continues with its downtrending pattern. Are we a little bit overextended below the 20-period moving average? Yes, but this is still downtrending on the long-term time period. We've broken a major support level on this day, 2.123. kind of got it back today, but this is on a downtrending pattern. Look for rejections off the 20 or 50 in the next few days if we can get there. Finally, for /GC gold futures, you can see that gold looks pretty bullish, and with a dovish stance by the Fed tomorrow, gold has a potential to continue moving higher. So you can see that we were at the 20 period moving average for gold, and we are pushing higher in the near term. So this trend looks like it wants to push higher. Your resistance is at 1450, so we'll have to see how the Fed influences gold and its prices tomorrow. So overall, the markets continue to look sound, and as long as we have the bears out there talking about a major correction or some sort of sizable move similar to these kind of moves, I think the markets continue to grind higher. And so again, if y'all are interested in the course, there's I have a list of tickers. So a lot of you like tickers, or what kind of tickers that I like currently. I have a list of them inside the course, so check it out. A lot of them, the majority of them, have been doing very nicely, and we've done trades in and out, and so far so good. So we'll just keep an eye out on that as well. So you can keep an eye on that if you're in the course. Keep updating that every single day. Most of them are swing trades, not day trades though. Okay, and with that, thank you everyone for watching this video. Let me just take a look at some of your comments. Eric, so glad you're producing content again. Liking the new background. This background? This background is just the window behind me. Actually, it's not my favorite background here, because it gets quite bright, and what happens is the camera starts focusing, and then in on the bright areas, it makes my face really dark at times. But if you're talking about this background, okay, thank you. TTWO is on my watch list. Do you feel the video game sector can take off soon? TTWO is Take-Two Interactive Software. So just because it's on this list here doesn't mean that I like it immediately, but I do like TTWO. The list here on the left is kind of my way of gauging where the market direction could be moving. SPY gives a good gauge. Dow, NQ, but then I have my select few that I pick out of those and I put on my list on the left. So but this is a pretty solid pattern, very predictable now, getting near the 20 and then getting another push higher. One thing of caution is we do have earnings coming up on August 5th, okay? But, your resistance is all the way up here at 137.58. Another resistance is around 128.89. So just keep that in mind. But this is an uptrending pattern. Doesn't really have to say that video game sector is going to take off anytime soon, but this is a good technical pattern. We're above all the moving averages. That looks good. Movie goer. Kevin, thank you for your valuable insights. What are your thoughts on Amazon? All right, let's take a look at Amazon. So here's Amazon. This is one on my list as well on the left. And what we can see here is Amazon, it's a pretty decent pattern, but we know that resistance levels is up here around 2036. That was the all-time high. But this is a pretty solid pattern. This is still all uptrending. And when we look at this, we just need it to find a support. Now, where is the support? Well, we can see several support areas, one of which is around 1885. This is the near-term support area. But then we have a gap area over here around 1816. And then we have some moving averages down here around 1786. Amazon's still a little bit close. It's around the mid-range. Let's just say this is the high, right? The upper 20%. This is the mid-range, and then this is the bottom 20%. So ideally, Amazon would come a little bit lower for it to be a little bit more enticing. But I like this pattern overall. Amazon, solid company, so I like Amazon. Giants, Rico. Oh, we have to tackle AMD, right? This is your ticker. So let's talk about AMD on earnings, because today was earnings day. And just take a look at this. First of all, this trend line is a 20-year monthly trend line that slants lower. And I find it very interesting how on earnings we came down, retested that trend line, and bounced off of it. That's a pretty strong sign. I like that. So we came down towards the $30 level, and we are currently bouncing off of that level after market. So if we can, maintain that level tomorrow after the fact, this can start pushing higher. So it's very interesting because this is a 10-year resistance line that is now showing to become a new support. So we'll have to monitor that, Rico. So you took a position on Twitter into Monday. So let's take a look at Twitter. I think Twitter did pretty good on earnings. Let's take a look at the daily time frame. Okay, so Twitter, and then we're pretty much where you bought it. I'm still looking for an entry position AMD, hopeful on Tuesday. So, yeah, you might get your chance. Coolio, spot on. It's when many bears start jumping on the bull train is when you should be careful. It is a psychological game. That's exactly what I believe. And then went long on TVIX on a swing today. If you went long on a swing, perhaps you got a little bit of it. It's a little bit difficult, as you know. It's more difficult to swing a downtrending pattern and try to capture it, swing a long downtrending pattern, than going into a long uptrending pattern, right? That should be pretty obvious, but sometimes it's a little bit, it can get a little bit difficult when you're trading during the trading day. So managing emotions is certainly one part of trading. All right, I think that's it. Thanks everyone for watching this video. Thumbs up if you like it. Thumbs down if you didn't like it. Talk to everyone very soon.